Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Well, as always in the VIP lounge, the bar is open. Help yourself. Adult beverages, artisanal sodas. And we'll get right into it after you've helped yourself. My local casino has a sign near the entrance that says, good stories never start with, so we decided to have a salad and go home early. And I always kind of keep that in top of mind as I'm telling stories, because most of my stories are fun to tell. And it's because things go well. When things go wrong, the story is like this. I went to the casino. I lost. I left. The end. No one is interested. No one is informed. No one laughs. But it is important to know that those negatives do occur. And if I don't make that known, I don't want to give the impression that you or anybody else should think, oh, well, he just goes and wins, because that's not what happens. I don't. No one does. Or I don't know anyone who does. Gabriel comes close once in a while, and every time I think I'm going to hand him the trophy, then it turns out he's just mortal like every one of us. Well, or as mortal as an angel can be. But anyway, that's not the goal. You know that's not the goal. The goal is to win as much as possible, as often as possible, and if we lose, to keep it to a small amount and get out the door and pick it up on the comps and on the experiences. So I'm going to tell you two stories today with negative outcomes, one worse than the other. Both have educational value directly as it pertains to progressive and regressive wagering concepts. So let's do the regressive story first. I had business on the West Coast years ago, and the customer was happy to fly me to Las Vegas on Friday, then to the West Coast on Sunday, because the flights were cheaper and their total cost went down. But at the time, there was a real low-roller casino on the Strip called the New Frontier. And they'd opened a new hotel tower relatively recently, and it was very nice. So, in addition, the rooms were not very expensive, and better than that, they had a promotion going where for every blackjack you received at the blackjack table, you got a token, a little round disc. And when you had 10 of those discs, they would comp you a room. And the best part, their blackjack tables had a $2 minimum. So I decide I'm going to use a martingale system because, at $2, what's the worst that can happen? And my final bet will be a bet of $32. And if I lost that $32 bet, I'd leave the table. And if I won $100, I'd leave the table. And along the way, I'd grab enough tokens for free rooms to redeem those and not pay for the rooms that I'd already booked. So Friday goes great. Comped room. Won a couple $100. Saturday, so-so. Lost all the way to a $32 bet a couple times, but I won my room comp. Sunday, my flight's, mid to late afternoon. I'm still up a little. I'll take one more run at things. So I quickly hit the $32 exit twice, managed to win $100 once, and then ended with a $32 bet, doubled, maybe split and doubled, and lost. Big picture, I lost and spent about $50 more than the comped rooms would have cost me in cash. So I lost. And not only did I lose, but I was going to make it back. No, I really lost. And I learned the hard way that even a limited martingale taken to an extreme because you've got a relatively large amount of cash relative to the size of the initial bet just isn't really workable. The other story is the progressive story, and it involves vacation at a major Las Vegas Strip hotel and casino. And it was a vacation, not a gambling trip. We did as much touristy stuff as we did gambling, and we had a great time. Once again, our flight's a little later, and I managed to get us a late checkout, so Mrs. TRG went to enjoy the pool, and I went to the blackjack table. I was playing basic strategy. I was playing a basic progressive wagering system, and for nearly 3 hours, it went exactly, and I do mean exactly like this. Bet $10, win. Bet $20, lose. Bet $10, win. Bet $20, lose. A classic progression. Over and over and over and over. I was winning 10 and losing 10, and losing $100 in the process. And I knew I was using a solid strategy. And I knew I was using a well-known wagering system, and I was miserable on the way home, and I was angry at myself, and I was puzzled as heck, and I'd ruined it. I'd gotten completely thumped, lost hundreds of dollars. I turned a fun trip into a big loss, and I sat there on that plane and I just said, Todd, you either have to figure out something better or you're just not doing this again. And I don't mean I was never ever going to play a game of blackjack again, but the whole idea of really trying to develop a way to approach the game and maximize my opportunities, I knew I had to find something better than a progressive betting strategy where if you bet one, you double your money, because the gap was too big. The problem was too small. Good news, I was working at a job right across the street from the main branch of the public library in my rather large city. And they had 2 shelves full of books on blackjack and gambling. I mean, each one 10 feet long, so 20 feet of books. And the job I was working in at the time simply required me to feed a floppy disk into a computer for hours at a time. And no one cared if I read books or did whatever, as long as every time the computer went ching, I popped out the floppy disk, popped in the next one, and pressed enter. So over the next 3 months, I read every single book in the library, all 20 feet. I read some of them twice. And out of that, the TRG wagering system number 1 that I shared with you earlier in this episode was born. I hope I've demonstrated that I know a great deal about gambling. And I hope I've shared with you many times that I don't think I know everything about gambling. And if you know something I don't, I'm happy to learn. If you have an idea or a concept, something you think that works, email it to whatido@casinokombat.com. That's it, folks. I'm glad you listened to Casino Combat with a K. I'd be thrilled if you enjoyed it and decided to like, subscribe, and share. And I understand if you didn't, and that you have to hit the dislike. And I'd rather have you do that so that I know than not have any feedback at all. And if you think I'm a complete idiot spouting garbage, as I always say, that's fine too. Let your friends know that how funny this complete idiot spouting total garbage is. And let them listen too. You know, get a subscription. Make a drinking game. Laugh at the complete and total garbage. I don't care. I have spoken. Everything you heard is true from a certain point of view. It's time for leaving. I hope you understand. I was born a rambling man.